This week on the Digital Coffee, LinkedIn audio events, which are essentially just audio chats on LinkedIn. Creator Studio from Facebook is allowing you to clip your videos and share them to stories, and create your office in virtual reality world. All that and more after this. Good morning, and welcome to the Digital Coffee. This is your weekly dose of digital marketing and social media news for your business. My name is Amanda Webb. You are very welcome. If you are joining us for the first time, and if you are watching on Facebook, if you leave me a little comment, I will send you by direct message a copy of the Digital Coffee newspaper, which has all the stories I'm talking about this week and links if you want to read more. If you're watching on YouTube, do say hello. I have a special place in my heart for YouTube viewers. You can see a link to that. I've pinned it to the top of the chat and it is in the description of this video. Before I get started on the news, I did have a question of the week and I forgot to put it up. My question is, how pretty is your Instagram feed? Maybe on a score of 1 to 10. Where is it? 10 being extremely pretty and 1 being quite ugly. I'm going to go for 3 on mine. It's not pretty because it's all kind of video content and it's all me kind of putting funny faces. That's pretty much my Instagram feed. So do let me know about that. Good morning, James. Thank you for joining me. And one other thing that I mustn't forget to tell you about is the Twitter space. So if you want to come and discuss these stories in more detail, you can join myself and Making Sang at 10:30 a.m. over on Twitter. I am at Spiderworking on Twitter, and if you go to my profile, I've pinned a space to the top of my Twitter account, so it's easy for you to join in. You can just come and listen to Making, disagreeing with me, if she does, which I always like it when she does, or you can come and disagree with me yourself. So do tune into that. Right, I think that's everything I need to say for now. Do let me know, scale of 1 to 10, how pretty is your Instagram feed? That's the first time I pressed the wrong button this year, in fairness.
Hi, I'm Danielle from Webb, and you're watching the Digital Coffee with Amanda Webb.
Audio chats are an amazing way to build deeper relationships. What am I talking about, audio chats? Well, in case you've missed it, there was a tool called Clubhouse that kind of this time last year was the rage. And basically it's a place you can go have conversations with random strangers based on a topic. It's just your voice, so no hair or makeup required. Shortly after it went mad on Clubhouse, Twitter had been working on stealing this Clubhouse idea for a while. We had Twitter Spaces, and that's really where I found my home. And it's just a great place to have a bit of banter. We have fun every Friday morning discussing these topics. It is a lovely way. And you do feel, by having these conversations, you feel more connected to the people you chat with on Twitter than you do via just your random text updates, even if you're sharing videos, even if you're getting into direct messages. So I'm really delighted to see that finally LinkedIn is introducing its version of this. Why? Because very often you do feel disconnected from people on LinkedIn. Maybe you connected with them, you forgot why you connected with them. Maybe you connected with them, but all you see from them is the odd announcement about something that their business is doing. This is going to be a place where you'll be able to hear their voice. There is something about that builds a deeper connection, and that's what LinkedIn is all about, really, isn't it? It's making those connections so that you're building business relationships. Now, at the moment, I know it's in beta, so a few people have it. I can see a few people have participated. I haven't been invited to one yet, but I'm excited to see it happening. It is going to be attached to events. So if you run a live on LinkedIn, it becomes a live LinkedIn event. These will be audio events. So that means you'll be able to invite people in advance, something we still can't do in Twitter Spaces, which could mean that you get more people involved. and more people. You could even invite specific people that you know would contribute to that branch of the conversation. The one thing that I think we are going to see happen, possibly, is multi-streaming, because we have all these different places now where we can have these audio conversations. Yes, the main ones I would say are Clubhouse and Twitter Spaces, but you can do it on Facebook. You can do it in a Facebook group. You can start one on a Facebook page. I'm sure people do. I've not seen it happening. I think if one place it's not going to work, it might be Facebook. And now we've got LinkedIn as well. Wouldn't it be nice, rather than me having to go and think of a whole other show to do on LinkedIn, if we could just expand the Twitter space into LinkedIn and have it in all those places? Now, this is going to be a lot more complicating than multi-streaming like I am now, video to multiple platforms, because obviously you need to bring everyone's voice, everyone who wants to speak in as well. But I do think that this could potentially be something we see in the future. I'm not sure it's a good thing, that multi-streaming. I can just see it happening. Good morning to my amazing co-host for my Twitter space, Making, who is the FOMO creator, in case you've missed her. I'm all about ugly when it comes to Instagram. And you're Making tea on Instagram, so do go and check it. I'm sure it's not as bad as you think. I'm saying I'm number 3 on the scale, where 10 is pretty. You'll have to let me know. Hello, Deirdre. Great to see you. Your Instagram is not pretty at all. And James, who says he's a 3.4. So you're better than me. You're better than me on the ugly scale on Instagram, and you haven't posted on the feed in a year. You know, that happened to me a while back. I realized I hadn't posted on Instagram. It's really not the channel for me anymore. But I do try and post clips from this show up there, or a little trailer for this show up there every week. And that's where my ugly feed comes from, me just caught in action. No, not prepared for my Instagram shots. So, there is a reason I'm asking you this question. There is, of course, a story about that later on.
I'm Ant McGinley, and you're watching The Digital Coffee with Amanda Webb.
There is only so long that you can be creating content without wanting to know the stats. Because if you don't know the stats, it's very easy to give in. And also, like, full stats, not just how many people are watching the show, for example, how many people convert, etc. And Twitter Spaces, until now, you had to kind of, like, while you were on your Twitter space, have a look, see how many people were joined in. And that was pretty much it. That's all you'd get. You could get stats on the tweets, but not the spaces. This week, Twitter have introduced the first stats we can see about spaces, and that is for recorded spaces. You'll be able to see how many people joined in live, how many people listened to the recording. They appear underneath your recording. Well, I say that, but it took me ages to find my own statistics for last week's Twitter space. Essentially, firstly, when you finish a space and you've recorded it, you get a notification telling you about that. And there, when you click the notification, you can see your stats. But obviously, nobody's watched it yet. So I clicked and I clicked. I tried on desktop. I tried on mobile. Somehow, eventually, I clicked the right button and I was able to see just the number of live participants and the number of replays. So it's kind of hidden. But I do think this is the first step. It's really good to know people are listening on replay, so it's definitely worth me recording. It could also tell you, if not many people are joining in live, but you're getting lots of replays, could it be that you're doing it at the wrong time of day? So it could be a way for you to tweak that and decide on a better time. I'm not changing my time. However, don't lean on that too much, because you will always get more replay visits than you will get live visits, as I know from running this show for as long as I have. So that's the first stats. I'm hoping we're going to see a whole lot more stat-wise from Twitter on this, because, it would be nice to know the average time people were staying, were they clicking any of the elements in the nest. There's a whole lot of stuff that could help, but this is the first stage. So well done, Twitter. I can see here's Katie, who says that your Instagram is medium pretty, but I don't post there much. You don't like it much. You know what? all of you guys are on my level here. You know, it's definitely not my favourite platform, although it is, I think, you know, pretty much Europe's favourite social network. Well, maybe TikTok has taken its place. But yeah, I used to love it. And I don't seem to find enough time for it in my schedule anymore. And I'm not even sad about that.
Hey, I'm Christine Gritman, and you are watching The Digital Coffee with social media superstar Amanda Webb.
There was a time that you would post a video on Facebook, just a video, didn't even need to be a live video, and you would get loads of reach. It was a magic pill. A magic pill. Use it and reach would come your way. But it's not like that anymore. It's not like that. Not even with live video, really. You know, it has to be. There are people that get a lot of reach with live video, but it's not a magic pill. How can we get more from our Facebook videos? Well, Facebook have a solution. Creator Studio is updating. I don't have the update yet, to allow you to clip, which you could always do with a live video at least. You were able to clip a section of your video, but now you'll be able to share these clips directly to your stories, which is cool. And it's even cooler if you can do it from your regular videos that you upload as well. So you'll be able to do this. You'll be able to take your clip, you'll be able to share it to your stories. And the value of this is, you know, there's two values to this. Firstly, it could drive more people back to watch your video. Like every week I do share this post to my story on Facebook, but I imagine people see that it looks like a Facebook post. They know they have to click it, and then they're going to have to watch for a whole half an hour. And I think that could put people off ever clicking through. I don't know, do they? I haven't got a way of measuring that. This will be different because it will be a short clip that is story length. So it will get in front of people that maybe you're missing in the feed. Maybe you're missing them in the feed because they don't look at the feed, they just look at stories. Or maybe you're not missing them, you're missing them in the feed because Facebook isn't showing it to people. And that is the real value. And that is repurposing, essentially. It's just a quick way to repurpose your video. And getting in front of people with your repurposed content is hugely valuable, as I know from repurposing this show on LinkedIn and Twitter with little clips that I share out every day. That does help bring customers to me. So I think this is a really exciting update, and I can't wait to try it out myself, because I definitely use this rather than a regular share to my story. James says, oh dear, you live with a photographer. And this is obviously why I bet then your Instagram feed is actually lovely. You're just comparing yourself to your photographer. So the Instagram bar is high in your household. So I bet you're on like 7 or 8 actually. It's just that you live with a 10, if that makes sense. I'm talking about Instagram feeds, just in case there's any confusion about what the 10's for.
Hi, I'm Lee from Wellshot, and you're watching The Digital Coffee with Amanda Webb. Cheers.
So, Twitter stole Clubhouse, right? Twitter stole the whole concept of audio chats from Clubhouse. We know because in the early days, before anyone had ever heard of it, Jack Dorsey was big on Clubhouse. And Jack, of course, used to be the CEO of Twitter. So they stole the whole concept of audio chats. Now, Clubhouse has stolen a little something back. It has stolen the retweet. It's not exactly a retweet, obviously, because it's on Clubhouse. But what it does is you have always been able to share a room to other social networks. So you could share it out on Twitter. I'm just looking for the slide for this. And you could share it out on Facebook or other social networks. You could copy the link. But now you're actually going to be able to reshare it to Clubhouse itself, like a retweet. It will appear in the feed. It could boost during your show. It could bring new people in. And when you click that reshare button, you will be able to quote tweet. You will be able to, above the room, you'll be able to say what you're doing, what you're talking about now. Is it fun? Is it serious? Is it a hearty discussion, in order to bring new people in? Now, what I find most interesting about this story is that What do I find most interesting? I forgot. What I find most interesting about this story is these are like social media posts, right? As soon as you've introduced that reshare, that's a post that appears on a feed. So is Clubhouse considering becoming more of a social network than just a place where the rooms are? How long until we see other sorts of posts appear on Clubhouse? And you know what? I don't think that's a bad thing, because what Twitter and what LinkedIn and even Facebook have over Clubhouse is that you have that ability to build your relationships beyond what's happening on the tool within the tool. And Clubhouse has always had to send people elsewhere to do that. So I think actually having some sort of feed post could be beneficial to Clubhouse in the future. James says, Twitter stole Clubhouse. Cry laughing. Well, they did. They stole Clubhouse. They stole Clubhouse. You know, who goes to Clubhouse anymore? Just those like hardcore Clubhouse people. I'm pretty sure most people are using other audio chat tools. Although, of course, I could be wrong. Come and disagree with me at 10:30 on a Twitter Spaces.
I'm Ian Anderson-Gray and you're watching Digital Coffee with Amanda Webb.
Now, I don't know if you are aware of Oculus Quest. Oculus Quest is a virtual reality headset and system by Meta. In other words, by Facebook. I actually have an Oculus Go, which I think was the first virtual reality headset that Facebook launched once they bought Oculus. And I really do it. I don't use it enough, but I really enjoy it. I tell you what I really enjoy about it, because it has got some relevance. You're going to think I'm really sad now, because there's loads of things you can do on these. But I like to use my Oculus Go to watch Netflix. Because, right, even though I've got a big telly, instead of watching Netflix on a TV or sitting there and watching it on my iPad, I can put this headset on and it gives me an environment I can watch it in. So it's like a really big screen. You can sit in this lovely cabin. Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. There's a couch, there's a cup of coffee in front of me. And it's just takes me away from my cold little room sometimes, if I'm in a cold little room. And I really enjoy watching Netflix that way. It's very immersive. And after a while, you do feel like you are in the virtual world. It's very Matrixy. You do feel like you're there. You kind of forget about your surroundings. So you'll move a little bit on your couch at home and realize that actually, yeah, you're not in the environment that all your senses are telling you that you are in. Like, I can really see benefits of using virtual reality like this, as long as we don't forget about the real world, like Keanu Reeves did in The Matrix. Why am I telling you this? Because it is now possible on the new Oculus Quest 2 to recreate the room that you're in. And it looks pretty amazing. I don't have an amazing slide to show you of this. So definitely look at the link once we finish this show. I'll post it below. So people are talking about recreating their living room in virtual reality, which will totally counteract that problem, right? I could just be sitting in my living room watching Netflix on my virtual TV, which I'll make a little bit bigger. What I think the business value of this is that you would actually be able to, I could recreate this office space using Oculus Quest. It's not going to be perfect. It's not like exactly like real life, but the objects are in the same place and it gives you an environment to host meetings. We know that Mark Zuckerberg was really excited about this concept. You know, last year he launched some sort of meeting thing via Oculus and everyone hated it because it was a horrible office and there were people with kind of like, it was wrong. But I do think this could really help, again, to build better relationships, because instead of seeing someone randomly on Zoom and looking at the books they've got going on behind them, you'll be able to bring them into your own controlled space to conduct meetings and to conduct one-to-one chats. It could even be great for content. You know, when you're interviewing someone, it could be more dynamic. You could use different camera angles. It could be more interesting way of conducting interviews. So I am really interested to see how this progresses. Anyone else use Oculus? Put your hands up and let me know.
You're watching The Digital Coffee with Amanda Webb.
How pretty is your Instagram grid? Mine, as I've said, is really not very pretty at all. It's not something I've been working on, although I did go through a phase when I scroll back, a couple of years ago, where it seemed, focused on making it at least a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. But it's not all about your grid being ugly. Sure, it's ugly. If you want to make it less ugly, you just have to post a lot so that moves down the screen. And it is kind of important, those first 3, 6 or 9 images, because that's what people are going to see when they visit your Instagram profile, that it puts across a good idea of what your business is about. So one thing that businesses will often do is make sure that they've got some sort of posting schedule, that, they post about 6 different topics that their business talks about on a regular basis, so that whenever anyone arrives, they see those 6 at the top of the screen. Doesn't matter if they're ugly or pretty, it just gives them an overview. But Instagram are working on something that I know is going to excite a lot of people, particularly because now that we have reels and video and stuff, it's really hard to keep that aesthetic going on your feed. And this is a move your Instagram grid around tool. I'm sure it's got a catchier term than that. And what you'll be able to do is you're actually going to be able to drag and drop the tiles around on your Instagram grid to ensure that when people visit your profile, they're getting the view that you want them to of what your business is about. I love this. It's not going to affect what goes out on the feed, but I do love this because it's going to free people from the chains that keep them going on that aesthetic look on their feed, to ensure they have the right information there so people can see what they do. I'm a big fan of this. I can see a lot of Instagram purists won't like it at all because they've been working so hard and they know their feed stands out because they've been working hard. But I do think it's a great way to instantly communicate what you do in your business without being tied to your schedule. Also, you won't be able to see, James, that you haven't posted in a whole year, because you'll be able to rearrange them. So nobody will be able to see what your latest post is and criticize you for not posting for too long. That is it from the Digital Coffee for this week. I can see there's a comment from Making, so I'm going to bring that up. Making says she's all about healthy competition, so I'm pretty chuffed that Clubhouse has stolen the retweet. I'm pretty chuffed as well. I do want Clubhouse to succeed. I always want the little guys to succeed. It's just, I did delete the app. Sorry, Clubhouse. I did delete it. And because Making's here, it's a good way to remind me to tell you that if you want to discuss these stories in more detail, you can join us at 10:30 a.m. on Twitter Spaces. I am at Spider, like the scary creature, working, like doing a job. So imagine a computer at a keyboard, Spider working. If you go to my profile, I have the tweet about that space pinned there. You'll be able to click in and join us at 10:30 a.m. I hope I see some of you there. But that is all for this show this week. I will be back, same bat time, same bat place next week. Until then, bye-bye.